5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
She's an old woman. Hello, welcome to Guide to the Unknown. I'm Kristen.
And I'm her little brother, William.
And this week, we are talking about scary people who aren't that scary. People in movies and TV shows, things that are lighthearted and comedic, who've got an edge, but don't worry about it too much.
I have a complete opposite perspective on this. I think that we are here to talk about funny people who are conventionally funny, and yet there is a disturbing, disgusting, sinister, monstrous side lurking just beneath the surface.
All right, I'm gonna admit to you.
Yeah.
I was a little distracted. I think I started the show too early or too soon after we were talking to our live show chat.
Okay.
And I had to autopilot it.
And so you totally screwed up what we're doing here today.
I absolutely
I
did.
originally pitched this episode to Kristen under the title Sitcom Psychos because there aren't many.
No.
But there are a few fairly recent examples of characters, beloved characters, on popular TV shows that are theorized or, in some cases, overtly stated to be maniacs and literal killers. I have someone to talk to you about later who's like a beloved character who most people may have not ever stuck around long enough to learn or have chosen to erase from their memory that this beloved character is overtly confirmed to have murdered another beloved character.
Yes, it's very, very troubling. And I have a character who is a real hoot.
Yeah.
And you think of them and you go, oh, I love that show. But then if you think about it for a few minutes more, you're like, oh, yeah, they are quite dark.
It's really dark. It's really dark. Yeah, I've got the equivalent of if I were going to say, did you know that Mork killed Mindy in the series finale of Mork and Mindy? It's that bonkers what I have.
Yes, it's absolutely true. So we are going to get into that right after we have a little commercial break.
Okay. Now, as much as we're here to talk about sitcom people, there's also something that I feel cannot be ignored.
Yeah.
It refuses to be ignored. A certain recent event, Kristen.
Yeah. No, it's taken the world by storm.
Yeah.
We can't not comment on it. This is the Willy Wonka Experience.
And this is why the episode's called Silly Psychos.
Instead
it's not
of
a sitcom
psychos.
Not a sitcom figure, but a silly individual who has now been perverted into, from where I'm sitting, a mostly confusing, unsettling situation.
It's very, very weird. So if you haven't heard of this happened in Glasgow. There was an event advertised to people as a children's event that you could go to this place and you would have this immersive experience, a Willy Wonka experience. And the poster, which was crazy AI art, made it look like you're going to be walking into this super elaborate situation where you and your children are going to be amazed. And it's going to be like you are walking into a movie or something.
Yeah, I think I saw an image of what was on the invitation or whatever. And it looked like the set of the Tim Burton Willy Wonka. That kind of giant trees stretching up toward the ceiling and lush green rolling hills and, paved streets of gumdrops. You're really going to go to some tremendously immersive candy world experience.
Yes. It cost $44. And then when parents and their children arrived at the address, it ended up being a factory, or a warehouse that just had posters of basically that same AI art. I keep calling it AI art that they used to advertise it, tacked to the walls. There was, I would say, one of the most famous images from this is their version of an Oompa Loompa standing at a table with smoking vials of things, and people are calling it the meth lab Oompa Loompa. It is not an immersive experience by any stretch of the imagination.
It literally looks like a warehouse. It looks like where they might store props.
Yeah.
It doesn't look It doesn't look like, you know.
It doesn't look like a place that you would be spending $44 with your kids to go, thinking that you're going to a world of pure imagination.
No, not at all. And this meth lab Oompa Loompa, it, you know, it's so funny because there's such a gulf. Mm-hmm. There's a big divide between, oh, yeah, I think we can have this Willy Wonka experience. What does he need? He probably needs bubbling beakers and right, like you think about like some sort of a candy laboratory. Okay, vials full of colored liquids and they're bubbling with smoke. But then the reality when you don't have the means to achieve this is like actual lab-sized beakers and stuff, which are relatively small. They're like one tabletop.
Yep.
And all the smoke literally just looks like you're cooking up like meth and
drugs.
Mm-hmm. And your Oompa Loompa looks confused and embarrassed.
Because they are.
Yeah, they authentically are confused and embarrassed.
Yeah, which I'll get to in just a second. So yeah, this kind of blew up because parents were taking video of this and being like, what the hell is this? I can't believe I paid money for this. Taking pictures, taking video. They were giving out jelly beans, not even chocolate. There were some accounts that children received one jelly bean. Kids were crying. It was just a shit show.
One jelly bean.
I know. And
how much is a bag of jelly beans?
I mean, it's unconscionable.
Yeah.
And a character really rose above all of this called the Unknown, which I will get into a little bit later. But the Unknown, just as a teaser, is a rival chocolatier to our main chocolatier, whose name is Willy McDuff, who lives in the walls.
Wait.
Oh, no, this isn't branded Willy Wonka. I think it's called the Willy Wonka Experience, but they can't use like all the character names and everything. I think that there was some sort of loophole where they could call it's like a Willy Wonka Experience, but it's not Willy Wonka.
So wait, because there's a guy there that wears a top hat and looks like Willy Wonka. He's Willy
McDuff.
That's Willy McDuff.
Yes, and instead of Oompa Loompas, there are Wonka Doodles.
Oh my God. This is so much worse than I knew.
Oh, it's really bad. Or no, it's the Willy Experience. Thank you so much, Maggie. Maggie, in our chat, I referred to it in the beginning. We record live on youtube.com/GTTUpod every Tuesday at 8 Eastern Standard Time. And we were talking to the chat right before we started recording, and I was all like wrapped up in that. Yes, it's the Willy Experience. That was the deal.
The Willy Experience.
Yes.
Couple that. It's so funny because it's like, yeah, couple the word Willy with all that candy imagery and your brain fills in Wonka.
Right.
I didn't even notice that there was no Wonka.
Mm-hmm. I know. I just wrote it because, my notes are riddled with Wonkas.
Yeah.
Because you just think that.
Wow.
I know. They really pulled one over.
Oh, yeah.
So it blows up online. Everybody's like, what the hell is this? What's going on? And as a result, the actors who were involved have become, for the moment, like internet celebrities themselves, because they themselves then started going online and responding, being like, yeah, I was involved in this. Hi, I'm Willy McDuff. This thing was crazy. So
Willy
here's the
McDuff.
Deal. I know. So the actress who was playing that so-called like meth lab Oompa Loompa, who we now know to be a Wonka Doodle, is named Cara Lewis. And this person posted the script online.
Excellent.
Now, both Cara Lewis and, I'm sorry I don't have the gentleman's name because I didn't use his script, but the gentleman who played Willy McDuff, both said that they responded to an ad about this job or whatever. They received the script and both of them referred to it as seeming like it was generated by AI.
Yeah.
And they were kind of confused by it. And then when they went to the location to have a rehearsal or whatever, it was this warehouse space and they were kind of surprised that it wasn't all done up in a way that would jive with what they read in this fantastical script. And they were like, yeah, it's going to be a little bit more done up when we actually do it tomorrow. I believe that it was like boom and boom.
Whoa.
And it wasn't really more done up.
Yeah, there's talk about that gulf, right? Like even all right. You can write whatever you want in a script. We'll
Right.
get to the notion that it's AI, right? That's a whole separate beast in my brain.
Yeah.
You can write whatever you want in a script. You want to hold the Willy Experience event, and you want it to be rolling Candy Hills. On paper, you can say that, sure, there are chocolate waterfalls coming from the ceiling. But when it gets down to the nitty gritty actual, how are we going to execute on what's written on this piece of paper? If you can't achieve that, then you need to massively restructure your ambitions.
Oh, yeah.
Scripts can be overly ambitious, and that can be okay. You just gotta go back in and get it down to something that's attainable.
Yes.
It sounds like they had no idea what they were doing and perhaps did not care. Do we know who's behind this? Do you have any?
We do. I don't have his name.
Yeah, okay.
He
Businessman.
I don't remember if it's businessman, but he has said he is going to refund everybody, and he's sorry. He apologizes. People were really pissed. Apparently he was doing it to fund his wedding, and he is going to give the money back.
Oh, no.
I know.
Oh, no. The optics on this entire situation where you're like, yeah, my husband had some scheme. It sounds like something.
Willy Experience.
It sounds like something that Homer Simpson
Yeah.
would get involved in, right? Like, oh, Marge, I was trying to raise money for our vacation.
Yeah.
So I created the Willy Experience, and it all blew up in my face.
Right.
And then he has to learn a lesson at the end, and she forgives him or something. But like that sounds like something out of the Flintstones.
It's quite shocking. So I have the part of the script that involves the unknown, because this is the scary part.
Yeah, we haven't even
told
this is the
story of
craziest thing.
So before I found this part of the script, all I really knew about the unknown was this short snippet of a video and the context that accompanied the video that said the unknown is a rival chocolate maker who lives in the walls of the factory that Willie McDuff uses. And there was a video of somebody wearing like a black cloak and a silver mask, and what people had thought was a long black wig appearing from behind a mirror and a child crying.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
That was all I knew of the story until I found the script. And you can find the script in our show notes if you go to our site. It's scaryfun.fun.
This really is. You're wise to jam this topic into our Sitcom Psychos episode.
Yeah.
Because even our show title, Guide to the Unknown, could all play as if this is an entire podcast about figuring out. I mean, that is what we're doing. Meme audience. Welcome, meme audience. This is Guide to the Unknown, where we try to figure out what the unknown was in the Willy Experience.
Mike and I were like joking about that, texting, and I did tweet Guide to the Unknown with a picture of the unknown.
Yes,
just to try to do a little something.
Good.
So this script, when they received it, I can see why they'd be like, what is this going to be? Because first of all, a huge tell that this is an AI script is that not only is it a script, it posits how the audience is going to react to all of these things. So it'll be like, Willie says this person says this. The audience gasps in delight.
Oh my God.
They can't believe yada, yada, yada. So I have that in here.
Oh my God.
And the actors had to be so shocked when they got to this warehouse that's like almost barren, with like tablecloths acting as room dividers or something, because the script references things like giggle grass, which would laugh when you step on it, talking tulips and butterflies flying through the air. And then they get to a warehouse.
Yeah.
It's so nutty. So
it's literally just a bare warehouse with a few tables.
Yeah, it's nuts. So I'm going to start the scene with entering their version of the tunnel from Willy Wonka.
Oh, there's no earthly way of knowing tunnel?
Yeah, there's a ripoff. And that leads us to the unknown. So I'm just going to straight up read it.
Please.
Scene. The vibrant colors and whimsical laughter of the Garden of Enchantment gradually give way to a more subdued atmosphere. The path narrows and the light dims, leading to the entrance of the Twilight Tunnel. Willy McDuff, with lantern in hand, gathers the audience at the threshold, where shadows dance and an air of mystery envelops the space. The Wonkadoodles huddle close, their usual mirth replaced by an eager anticipation mixed with a hint of apprehension. Deep within the serpentine pathways of the Twilight Tunnel, the atmosphere grows tense as Willy McDuff gathers the audience in a semicircle. His face is illuminated by the flickering light of his lantern, casting long shadows on the walls. Okay, the way that this looks is like, it seriously, I think it might be tablecloths that are just like somehow maybe on like, I don't know, wooden poles going, you know, along a length of the room, basically.
It's starting to make me angry.
William, it's egregious.
Yeah.
Okay, how do they know? The group's laughter and whispers fade as Willy begins to speak in a grave tone. Would you like to be Willy McDuff?
I would love to be Willy McDuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, boy. Okay, here we go. With a serious expression. My dear adventurers, we stand on the precipice of a discovery most wondrous and perilous, for within these ancient walls lurks a tale not yet told of an evil chocolate maker known only as the Unknown. The audience leans in, captivated by Willy's words. Now, if you don't think and you generate the script with AI or whatever, you're like, the audience leans in, captivated by Willy's words. That's great. Yeah, that's what they're going to do. Good. Hell yeah, that means they love it already before we've even done it.
Yeah.
Without thinking about how this is actually going to appear. All right. The fiendish foe has long coveted one of my most cherished creations, the anti-gravity gobstopper, a marvel of confectionery science designed to aid, not just any soul, but the tireless guardians of cleanliness, our beloved moms. And yes, dads too, but especially moms. From the endless scourge of dirty socks strewn about by youthful adventurers, a murmur of amusement and agreement ripples through the audience. Willy McDuff suddenly freezes mid-sentence, his expression locked in shock. And then I think this goes back to you. So,
okay. Silence envelops the group, the tension palpable. Then, from the shadows, a figure emerges, cloaked in mystery and malice. The Unknown. The Unknown, with a voice both smooth and sinister. Ah, Willy McDuff and his band of intrepid explorers. You have something I desire, and with your unwitting aid, it shall be mine. The anti-graffiti gobstopper will no longer clean your worlds. It will turn them to chaos at my command.
May I pause you?
Uh-huh.
Is it anti-graffiti gobstopper?
That's what
Is that what it says? May I look?
I'm looking up.
Did I flub? Because I said gravity. Maybe I said gravity.
Yeah. It says anti-graffiti.
It says graffiti?
Yeah.
All right, that's my mistake. Because I was like, why are we going from anti-graffiti to cleaning stuff?
It's because there's the anti-gravity potion in Willy Wonka.
Yes, my brain did that.
You're doing the same thing that I did by thinking that the Willy experience was the Willy Wonka experience. You would think that. They're hoping that people think that.
How can you eat an anti-graffiti thing? How do you eat something that cleans graffiti? So yes, my brain refused to imbibe it.
You can't.
Okay. Sorry.
No, it's fine. The audience gasps, some shifting nervously as the Unknown scans the crowd, his gaze landing on a chosen audience member. You there? Yes. You will assist me in acquiring this precious sweet. Together we shall rewrite the rules of cleanliness and order. As the Unknown extends a hand towards the audience member, the room suddenly brightens, and Willy McDuff unfreezes, shaking his head as if disoriented. What? So you are... Oops.
So I'm stunned by what has just gone on. The Unknown has targeted a particular individual.
You were frozen?
I was frozen in shock.
Oh, yeah, you were frozen in shock.
Yeah. Like, I couldn't believe.
Okay, there you go.
So that entire time you were talking, I was in shock.
Yes.
Well, what happened? Did anyone else feel a chill? He looks around, feigning ignorance of the Unknown's presence. Oh, he doesn't know that just happened?
I guess not.
You all look as if you've seen a ghost. Or perhaps you're just feeling a bit Whitety? Whitety.
I have no idea.
Whitety.
There must be some sort of McDuff word.
Whitety. Laughter breaks the tension as Willy reassures the audience with a wink and a smile, subtly dismissing the ominous threat of the unknown as nothing more than a momentary illusion. Fear not, my friends, for the power of imagination and good cheer can dispel even the darkest of shadows. Now, let us continue our journey with hearts light and spirits undimmed.
So let's just continue
That's it?
after that?
So wait a minute, is that the only appearance of the unknown in this experience?
Yeah.
So this isn't a story. This is, you go through a thing and then the evil candy maker, who for some reason looks like the Grim Reaper.
Right.
With a silver mask.
Yeah, this rival chocolatier who lives in the walls.
Lives? And how can you be a rival chocolatier without your own laboratory? Why are you're living in the walls?
These are great questions.
This is...
It's horse shit.
It's horse shit. This is why it's making me angry. Because this is the least effort you could put into something.
Oh, yeah.
And it like, for everything that people are saying about AI replacing creatives and how quickly that is like almost inevitably going to occur, this alone is evidence of still needing somebody with a brain in their head to have a hand on the wheel.
Yeah.
You can't just say to AI, tell me a story, because it's going to be insane.
Right.
You've got to have a person who's there who has some awareness of the gulf between fantasy and reality to take this idea and turn it into an actionable plan.
Yes.
Without those individuals, AI is useless. And it will get better. Of course it will get better. There is an inevitable conclusion where AI does produce things perfectly, but boy, are we not there yet.
Oh, we sure are not.
And the ego of somebody to be like, I'm going to pay for my wedding by just farting some stuff into an AI
Let me make
and then buying some tablecloths.
I know.
I'm sorry, sir. You should obviously be reimbursing everybody.
Now he has his name is Billy Cool.
Okay.
Coull. I might not be pronouncing it right because it's a Scottish name. He denies that he was using the event to pay for his wedding.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know.
Where did that come from?
It's out there.
It's out there. All right. Maybe he's not trying to pay for it. Here's the thing.
I don't know. It says that something says that he denies that he was using it to pay for it. Something else says that the fiasco has canceled his dream wedding.
What?
I don't know.
That's confusing.
Yeah. Because he had to cancel his dream wedding because he had to refund everybody.
I'm sorry. Whoever used the goddamn phrase dream wedding in this context, you blew it. You wanted us to be sympathetic for you. My dream wedding. Now it just sounds like, don't you feel bad for me? I tried to launch a business.
Now I don't get my dream wedding.
I tried to con people out of their money with some low effort, low brain scheme. And it didn't work. So now I can't have my dream wedding.
I didn't take notes on him because I was trying not to dwell on it. I don't know why I was trying not to dwell on it, because you're right. He conned people out of their money.
Yeah. He's giving it back. He's doing the right thing. You got to give him that,
doing the right thing. Yeah, exactly. It's worth a goog. When I was just looking it up just now to confirm the wedding thing, I saw that he said, I did try to order holographic paper. I'm interested in that.
Okay. Sir, I think you needed more people on your team.
Yeah.
This is where it's like, it just angers me from the standpoint of like somebody who just thinks that they don't need anyone, and they can just use shortcuts to trick people.
I know. I mean, I know that during our listener questions episode, I was talking about how I'm not as not anti-AI, but I'm not as afraid of AI as I used to be. I'm certainly not pro-AI.
No, it's a mess, man.
It's a mess. And so every time something like this happens, a Chrissy gets her wings. Yeah. And I'm glad to see people like having examples of how ineffective AI actually is.
You lean on it as a tool, and your brain turns off to some extent. Yeah. And to some of it is like
and also the art aspect. Like we were talking about AI from primarily like a writer's perspective, because that's what we do, like AI art and like art theft is so rampant. That's like a whole other can of worms that I don't know anything about, but I know that sucks.
Well, it just means AI is trained on stuff.
Yeah. Totally.
So AI looks at literal, visual artwork to learn about style.
Right.
The same way that a human does, but a human then brings their own interpretation to how they create art.
Yeah.
And AI has no ability to self-assess like that. So AI will literally just, copy skills, that people have studied years to acquire.
Right.
And then just blast out some low effort thing and people look at it and go, that's pretty good.
And then unfortunately, they profit on that.
And they profit on it.
Something that somebody has worked on for years.
Yes.
And it's their personal thing.
Absolutely.
Anyway, I don't need to be on an AI high horse, but it's actually been kind of bugging me since that episode.
Yeah.
I just want to leave you with the knowledge that there is going to be a movie about the unknown. By the time this happens, we are all going to be like, what? It is coming from Caledonia Pictures, and they had this to say in Bloody Disgusting. The film, gearing up for production and a late 2024 release, follows a renowned illustrator and his wife who are haunted by the tragic death of their son, Charlie. Desperate to escape their grief, the couple leaves the world behind for the remote Scottish Highlands, where an unknowable evil awaits them. The unknown.
Yeah, well, that's nonsense.
I know.
I hate that too. For the record, I hate that. I'm sick to death of...
Me too.
We've covered this extensively on the Netherworld Dispatch. Like, the Bambi horror movie, and just, I am tired of that.
Cinderella's Revenge.
And please do not reward the laziness of
this man.
Of this man.
Yeah.
He gets to make a movie. He's...
could he get royalties for this?
Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. This is all... It's chasing the meme silliness of this is like...
You can't do it fast enough. I almost felt like it was too late doing this podcast.
It is probably too late doing this podcast.
Yeah.
This is a flash in the pan kind of story that everyone's going to forget about soon.
Totally. It is very amusing.
It's very amusing.
Yeah.
It's only interesting because of how bug nuts and recent it is.
Yeah.
And it infuriates me that a movie is going to be made on it because it is rewarding.
I know.
It's rewarding. Low attention span, low effort.
I hope some people, get hired and get paid.
Makes me want to throw up and fall over. I can't stand it. I'm going to throw up and fall over.
Shout out to our mom who said that.
It's a great phrase. I want to throw up and fall down. I hate it. I just hate it.
So before we move on to Will telling us about a terrifying killer couched in a happy little show, we need to make sure you know about patreon.com/GTTUpod. This is where you can go to help support the show. It means the world to us. Thank you so, so much. And we have bonuses as a gigantic thank you that you can enjoy. I mean, hopefully. We have a whole second podcast called the Netherworld Dispatch that releases episodes every week, and our Demon tier gets all of those episodes. We also have other tiers that you can check out and see just what works for you that get episodes every other week and also monthly. We also even have a $1 tier if you would just like to join our Discord, which is full of awesome people talking about sweet, spooky stuff every day. So go check it out. Patreon.com/GTTUpod.
And the most recent episode of the Netherworld Dispatch is episode 151, titled Willy's Secret Creepy Folder.
Yeah, this was awesome.
It ain't no Willy Wonderland experience here. This literally is that 15 years ago, I think. I started to copy anything that I thought was scary on the internet and put it in a folder.
Yeah.
And then I forgot about it. And so we opened it, read some old creepypastas that I saved, a special folder or a special document that I had also called Crappy Pastas for the worst of the worst, which were amusingly bad.
Yes.
And I loved it.
It was great.
I loved it. It was a trip down memory lane for me, and a lot of stuff I don't think you'd ever seen before.
Oh, no.
So go check that out. That's episode 151. It's out there right now.
Yeah.
And I've got a review for us that I thought was really lovely from Suzanne Walks Redding, who says, one of the best podcasts. Kristen and Will are wonderful together. This podcast is so well done and so funny. I like how supportive they are as siblings. They could talk about anything and make it fun.
That's nice. What was it? Their name was Suzanne?
Suzanne Walks Redding.
Thank you, Suzanne. That is so nice. Thank you so much to everybody who leaves us a review. It's so appreciated. And you all rule. Thank you very much.
And if you don't mind, would you indulge me? This is another...
depends on what it is.
It's another review.
Okay.
From DA Life titled Great Podcast.
Oh, great.
And it says, great podcast, 5 stars.
Oh, awesome. I mean, thank you very much as well, DA Life.
Hell yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I mean, genuinely, that's great too. Thanks.
Oh, no, it rolls. It rolls. The stars are in my eyes, Kristen. The stars are in my eyes.
Yeah, mine too. So we are going to talk about some freaky ass stuff right after this quick commercial break.
Okay, so here we go. I'm going to talk to you about a beloved sitcom character who, as I mentioned at the top of the episode, has literally killed somebody.
Okay, I'm really looking forward to this because I know this information because I've seen it, but I don't remember this like at all.
I don't think anybody wanted this. It's so complicated.
We've blocked it societally.
I think so. Let me just go ahead and start by asking you the following question. How do you feel about the show Arrested Development?
I would say I love it as a whole. When I think about Arrested Development, I think I like that show.
You feel positive about Arrested Development.
Mm-hmm. If I dig into it a little bit further, I think, yeah. But overall, yes, I like Arrested Development.
I'm going to spoil Arrested Development. Literally, I'm going to tell you events that culminate in in like the final 2 minutes of the entire thing.
Yeah.
It's 5 seasons of a show. Mm-hmm. And in the last couple of minutes, they reveal a character who has murdered another beloved character on the show. And it's not funny.
Yeah.
It's disturbing. It completely reframes how we think about this individual. Mm-hmm. I don't think that it's anything the audience ever wanted.
Right.
And I think that it truly served as the death knell of this show's legacy.
Yeah. Now, William, how do you feel about Arrested Development?
I loved Arrested Development. Mm-hmm. Loved it.
Yeah.
I think that Arrested Development seasons 1 through 3, the original seasons that aired on TV, are some of the best written, funniest, the greatest cast.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
It's like a top 5 show to me.
Yeah, might be for me.
And then, seasons 4 and 5, it was revived on Netflix. It was one of like the first shows to like get canceled on conventional television, get picked up by a streaming network. And in this case, this was like one of the first times that Netflix ever picked up a show to continue it like this.
I remember it was so exciting.
It was exciting. It was a huge deal. And it was, as everybody who paid attention decided, a letdown. Mm-hmm. And there were a million reasons why it was a letdown, season 4. And then it disappeared for a few years, and they made a 5th season, and that's when it really got bleak and dark and disturbing.
Yes.
So I think I've probably bigged it up maybe too much. I'm going to go ahead and spoil it now.
Yeah.
What I'm even talking about, okay? I'm going to do a countdown because I know that this is such a beloved show. Everything I'm going to say from this point on, if you don't already know, or you forgot because your brain doesn't want this to be the case.
Right.
It's going to...
I totally forgot.
It's going to deflate parts of the show for you.
Right.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
She's an old woman. She
was an old woman. Lucille 2, played by Liza Minnelli, the hilarious Lucille 2, who's got the disease and is always like falling over. And
she's one of the best parts of Arrested Development.
She's
one of the best parts of anything. I love Liza Minnelli.
Her character is overtly and intentionally murdered by Buster Bluth, the hilarious youngest brother of the family, who's so funny and so goofy and loves mom. And he's the guy that, gets his hand bitten off by a loose seal in the ocean. And he goes to army, as he phrases it. That silly guy character murdered Lucille too. And I'm going to take you through the timeline of events.
I know. I almost couldn't even guess. I really don't remember.
It's shocking to me.
Yeah,
and I rewatched a bunch of it to confirm, and I still find it to be very, very unpleasant.
I was about to say, unsurprisingly, I only watched seasons 4 and 5 like the first time when I watched them when they came out. I've seen seasons 1 through 3 of Arrested Development like a billion times, but not the latter ones.
Absolutely. So in seasons 1 through 3, the original good stuff, the joke was always that Buster was a mother boy. He was his mommy's boy. He was a grown man. He still lived with his mother. And, you know, he would say that he's not allowed to go on the patio because mom says it's too windy.
Yeah.
But he's like 30.
Right.
You know? All right. He simultaneously loves and hates his mother, Lucille Bluth. There are references to the fact that he was in the womb so long there were claw marks on Lucille's uterus. And then here's the first time that things get really kind of weird. And the show is called Arrested Development, right? It literally means people who are not progressing.
Yeah.
And in each their own way, these people are not growing and learning. And Buster is like, I mean, he's not growing up. He's a little boy.
Right.
He's his mommy's little boy. Enter Lucille 2, played by Liza Minnelli. Lucille Austero lives just down the hall from Lucille Bluth. They are best friends. And there's one night...
Best friends / bitter rivals.
Of course. Well, yes. It's that love-hate relationship thing. They're frenemies. And there's one night where they're going to a charity event, and Lucille Bluth, Buster's mom, says that he can't wear his glasses because they make him look like a lizard. So he doesn't wear his glasses to this event. So he's not understanding that as he's just dancing privately in a corner, Lucille Austero, Liza Minnelli, thinks that he's staring at her and making like eyes at her. So she kind of points like, me? You're interested in me? And she writes her phone number on a napkin to give to Buster.
Right.
But doesn't approach him, like gives it to like a server to have it delivered to Buster. And then he says, subsequently, he's like, Mom's upset with me because I'm a man. There's a woman who's interested in me. They say, well, who is it? And he goes, I don't know, but I couldn't see who she was, but I know she was a brownish area with points. Because Liza Minnelli's hair is all pointy.
Yeah.
And he says, at some point, he goes, I know what it is to be a man. You grab that brownish area by its points and you don't let go no matter what your mom says. This is all Buster growing up. So all of a sudden, baby Buster is dating Lucille 2, who is his mother's friend.
Right.
The same age as his mom, and who is known as Lucille 2, the second Lucille. He's dating his mom.
Right.
Is the joke. Right? And it's inappropriate and it's gross and it's weird, but it's very funny.
Yes.
And she ends up dumping him because she's like, I don't want a son.
Yeah.
I want a lover. And he goes, can't I be both? Which is so grotesque and disturbing. All right? Now, Buster
is so funny.
Buster is so funny. He drinks juice. He drinks juice and he gets like a sugar high and talks about like he's like that party had so much juice. Like it's so good.
Oh my god.
Buster
and Lucille are like my favorite part of Arrested Development.
It is so delightfully deranged. It's on the right side of not coming across as sick.
Yeah.
It comes across as so cartoonish and funny.
Yes. Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Even when Buster does lose his hand in the ocean because a seal bites it off, a loose seal.
Yes.
I don't care about loose seal. Somebody goes, there's a loose seal out there. And he goes, I don't care about loose seal. Even though he suffers all this trauma and now he's got a hook hand and people keep calling him, like at one point he walks in to like a house and he's got his hook hand and Job, played by Will Arnett, goes, oh, monster. And he goes, no, not monster, Buster. They start calling him monster all the time. The joke is that he's creepy.
Yeah.
But he's not creepy. He's funny to us. Mm-hmm. Enter season 4. Season 4 begins. One of the first things that we see is they're at a party, an outdoor event called Cinco de Cuatro, which is not funny to me. Like almost instantly the jokes aren't landing for me. And what's worse is that our main character, Michael, is on the iconic Bluth family stair car. Like that's the car with stairs on it that you drive up to an airplane.
Yeah.
That's the only vehicle they have.
Right.
Michael's standing at the top of that with Lucille too.
Mm-hmm.
And what's disturbing is that he's covered in bruises and cuts and Band-Aids. Mm-hmm. And he is alluding to the fact that he, somewhere between season 3 and the several years before season 4, borrowed a bunch of money from Lucille too. Mm-hmm. And he can't pay it back. He is, at the beginning of season 4, offering to sleep with Lucille too if she'll forgive his debt. It comes across so slimy and unpleasant and not what we want to see of this character. And it doesn't set up a fun, compelling mystery of how did it get to this point.
I just know nothing felt good.
It never felt good.
Yeah.
Now, without getting too much into it, because I could talk about this all day.
Right.
Season 4, for a multitude of reasons, is structured that the characters are seldom are the characters we love actually interacting with each other. Mm-hmm. It's like this episode focuses on Michael, and Michael's got this whole adventure with all these other new characters in his life.
Right.
This episode focuses on Buster, and he's got all these other new characters in his life. So you seldom get everyone all together, and it's just a very weird flavor.
Yeah. It was scheduling stuff, right?
A lot of it was scheduling, and some of it
personal stuff.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people didn't want to work with each other, and a lot of dirt came to light, particularly around season 5, that made even the
that
meta
New York Times article.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Even the like public awareness of these actors on this show, it all became really unpleasant.
Yes, Jeffrey Tambor.
Down. Oh yeah. And so we learn over the course of season 4 that Buster has become a drone pilot, and he has killed numerous people.
Okay.
But he doesn't know that he's doing it.
Uh-huh.
He thinks he's playing video games because the army brought him back in. So he's like piloting things with like a joystick, but he's killing civilians overseas. All right. But you can almost like be like, well, he didn't know.
Yeah, right.
Lucille 1, his mom, goes to jail at some point, and so he's stuck at home by himself. And what he's doing in that apartment as he's alone is he's like in his underwear over a sewing machine, and he's building a life-size doll with a photograph of Lucille's face on it. It's like very Norman Bates. What they're hitting, but that could be amusing.
Yeah.
Season 4 concludes thusly. There's a reveal that at this Cinco de Cuatro night, after Michael had spoken to Lucille too and tried to sleep with her for money, and she's got other people that she had wronged and stuff, Buster runs and finds the stair car in the dark, and lightning strikes, and you see Lucille 2's body at the base of the stairs.
Yeah.
And then in another lightning flash, she's gone, and he runs away. And so it sets up this mystery. Is Lucille 2 dead?
Yeah.
Did she die that night? People haven't seen her. Did she go missing?
Right.
Was Buster involved, or was he in the wrong place at the wrong time? Now, all of that I could consider decently compelling as like a mystery, but it's a weird thing for the show.
It is, but I do kind of like that. This is so funny. I don't remember this at all.
Well, no one remembers this.
That is a good setup for season 5.
It's fine, right?
Buster, Buster getting pinned for Lucille's murder, and how are we going to work that out?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, but then season 5 happened, and it got way more complicated and strange.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that was like wonderful about Arrested Development was that a lot of the events of the show were constantly being complicated by what people interpret things to mean. So like, for example, a big thing in seasons 1 through 3 is this family, they work in construction. What's it called? Like
development.
Development. Yeah. They build houses. And so there's this whole arc.
Is that a pun at all for Arrested Development?
I think so, yeah. Huh. There's this whole arc of like, it's
not a pun, but whatever.
Did the company build houses for Saddam Hussein?
Right.
Like there are all these jokes about like the house model that they live in looks identical to Saddam Hussein's house where he was hiding at the end of his life.
Yeah.
So, but like that plays out over the course of 3 years, and characters sometimes being like, well, don't mention the deal. What deal? This deal? No, that deal. So everything is always being hit. It's like a shell game.
Yes.
What's the actual overarching plot? Did they commit treason or is it all a misunderstanding? It could be.
Right.
Season 5 almost seems to want to play that game with Lucille 2's death and a new death. It turns out in season 5, it is revealed that Lucille 1's mom died under suspicious circumstances.
Oh.
And is Buster at the center of that as well?
What? Like a long time ago or what?
When he was a child. Yes.
Oh.
So, okay.
And also, was there like a weird, like, did episodes run backwards or something like that? Like, was there some sort of weird structure
for season 5? No, season 5, they tried to get back to season 1 through 3. They knew that season 4 nobody liked. They even,
did season
Mitch
4
Hurwitz,
have a weird thing?
Season 4, yes. Season 4, Mitch Hurwitz, one of the creators, ended up re-editing the entire season.
Oh.
And he re-edited it to make it look closer to what the original show was like. So everybody appears in every episode. Oh. Instead of it being like this episode's about Michael.
I heard that.
I watched it because I was a super duper duper fan. I thought it was like, in some ways an improvement. In some ways there were things I liked about the weird take of character-centric episodes.
Yeah.
I actually really liked it just as like, this is what streaming is now. Why not have both? There are 2 different ways to watch season 4. I actually find that kind of compelling and interesting.
That is cool. That's what I was thinking of.
Season 5 is like a total victim of like, man, it's hard to watch if I'm honest. They will supposedly something that they would do is they would re-edit scenes like 5 different ways depending on if they came up with a new joke or not. So lines are constantly being ADR'd in. So you can tell that like a voice in a room has, this room that we're in right now has certain echo.
Yeah.
But if I suddenly dropped in my voice from that was recorded in a totally different environment, say a clean, pristine sound studio, it's a jarring difference in how it sounds. And it's constantly distracting. And sometimes people's mouths aren't actually saying the thing that their voice is saying.
I'm super conscious of ADR. It's one of those things that I am really aware of when I watch stuff.
I'm not kidding. I would say maybe 50% of every joke. Every other joke is some ADR'd or jammed in thing that didn't really occur on that recording day.
Yeah.
And it is so distracting and confusing. So, all season long in season 5, people are trying to find out what happened to Lucille 2. It sure seems like she's dead, but there's no body. Maybe she's just missing.
Yeah.
She's just not here. Maybe she's alive. There's an entire court case trying Buster for the murder. But on top of that, they're all focusing on this other thing, this Lucille 1's mom's death. Mimi is her name. And this again is that shell game of what's the truth. Buster is said to have pushed Mimi down the stairs to defend his mother. Okay, so he was protecting his mom, killed his grandma. To protect his mom.
He would do anything for his mom. He's mother boy.
He killed his grandma. And then they find tapes where Tobias Funke, the son-in-law, hypnotized Buster into believing that he didn't kill Mimi. And was that an attempt to protect Buster from the memory of it? Or was he hypnotizing him to believe that he killed Mimi to protect Lucille? Really, he just killed Mimi.
Yeah.
So you see what I mean of like this shell game. It all becomes about like, what's the motivation?
Right.
Buster did it or he didn't do it. If he did it, why did he do it? This reason or that reason. It's so convoluted and not in a satisfying way.
Right.
What we end up finding out concretely, Buster killed his grandmother. And then Tobias was brought in by Lucille to hypnotize him, to make him believe he did it to protect his mother.
Oh.
Because they didn't want him to grow up thinking to be a murderer. He killed his grandma as a child. Is that
like how he met Lindsay?
Lindsay's a whole other mess. Do you know that Lindsay is not Lucille's daughter?
Yes.
You know that from seasons 1 through 3, where it's revealed that she was adopted. Did you know that they're sisters? Because Lucille...
No, I do not remember that at all.
Lucille and Lindsay are half sisters.
What?
And in the last 10 minutes of Arrested Development, Lindsay says, "You're a terrible mother, but you're a great half sister." And they hug.
God, I don't remember that at all.
And she calls her Lucy.
Oh my God. Okay. Great.
And that makes maybe George Michael's aunt. Yes. Not his cousin.
Okay.
Okay. Do you see what I'm saying? How convoluted this is?
Yes.
So again, here's what matters.
My brain probably just couldn't even retain it.
I think that's true for everyone. I think that might be true of what I'm even saying right now, because it's so hard.
Yeah.
I read all this and I
it's like
watched
reading
it.
Latin or something. It's like you just don't even understand this.
I'm
it's not
saying
even me joking and being like, you blocked it because you didn't like it. It's above my brain's pay grade.
Yes, it's confusing as all hell. So, again, let me just try to bring you back to all that matters. Buster killed his grandmother as a kid.
Right.
And then they tried to hypnotize him so he would think he did that just to protect his mom. But that is not the case. He pushed his grandma down the stairs because he's a killer.
Because he has bloodlust.
As a child.
Yeah.
Then, the way the entire thing ends. The heart of this show has always been Michael Bluth and his son George Michael. Every season ends with them together having some heart-to-heart and then driving off together or having some big moment of awareness. We stay on them because they're our main characters.
Yeah.
Well, they talk to each other a little bit and then they disappear, never to be seen again. We then linger on the rest of the family who are all centered around this wall.
Yeah.
There's this season 4, season 5 arc of they're going to build a wall at the southern border. It's all the Trump stuff.
Yeah.
And another convoluted thing is, well, I have to simplify now, because if I go down this rabbit hole, it's going to get too crazy. It's about like Job doing magic with Tony Wonder. Irrelevant. Okay. Irrelevant.
Ben Stiller's in season 5?
Minimally.
Okay.
Minimally. They tear down the wall. This is in literally the last 2 minutes of the entire show.
Should have gone through it like David Copperfield.
And that's what Job was trying to do. For the record. They're tearing down the wall. And everyone's like, Buster's like, well, I'm innocent. You don't really think that I did anything wrong, do you? And everyone sort of looks at him a little shifty, and they could have left it at that. Just leave some ambiguity. Maybe this family is a little wary of the silly guy, the baby brother who they're now like, maybe he's a killer.
Yeah.
It's funny to have the family maybe be like, did he?
Yeah,
I don't know if I do trust you, Buster. Sure. That's an amusing beat to end on.
Like his entire life doth protest too much.
Yes, exactly. But they don't leave it there. They actually go so far as to show, like, they go like, where's Michael? And then there's just a drone shot or like a helicopter shot of the stair car driving away. It's so unsatisfying.
It's so weird.
And then they do that like fade to white on the next Arrested Development. And what happens is the wall gets smashed open by construction guys and a body flops out.
Oh.
And it's covered in dust and it like ragdolls onto the ground. And they look down at it and everyone's like, huh, is that? And then they go like, is that a mannequin? And there's a guy on hand, I think a cop on hand, who goes, no, that's not a mannequin. That's a dead body. That's the happiest corpse I've ever seen. Which no one understands. I looked it up. It's evidently some reference to like a Judy Garland song.
Oh, okay.
It's like it's like not amusing in the moment. I don't know. And then they all look at Buster and he goes, okay, I did it. But doesn't she remind you of Mom? And then he just kind of smiles and looks off into the distance. And they all just uncomfortably look at him. Credits. That's how the show,
weird.
That's the final moments of this legendary, beloved series, is finally overtly stating that Buster murdered one of the most beloved comedy characters on the show.
Yeah.
Lucille, too.
How strange.
I did it, but doesn't she remind you of Mom? Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. The end.
Boy, he really did grab those brown points and didn't let go.
What do you think of that?
I don't like it. It's just so...
It is disgusting.
It's so anticlimactic and like... Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have never seen I've never seen anything like it before. They never revealed in the final episode that Chandler had strangled a woman or, like
yeah, right.
This has never happened before.
No.
Buster murdered Lucille too. And so now if you wanted to watch seasons 1 through 3, any joke about him being creepy, is now it's not a joke.
Context.
Now he's creepy. He killed his grandmother when he was a child, and he'll kill Lucille too later in life.
How weird.
The woman that he was dating and the whole thing.
What a strange choice.
I don't even know.
It's like inexplicable, kind of.
Yeah, it's it
doesn't feel like it's like a great payoff.
Oh,
it's
like an anti-payoff.
Weird.
Again, the entire payoff could be, and now here's the problem: is like they locked themselves into the notion that Lucille 2 is missing,
right?
And maybe Liza Minnelli wasn't well, or couldn't agree, or wouldn't agree to come back for a. So now you have no satisfying end to that character.
Yeah.
Because you could say it was all a misunderstanding. Here she is alive.
Yeah.
Find some convoluted way to explain what happened to her.
Right.
But now they're locked into she's dead. What are we going to do? Well, let's just make it the last thing, the final taste in the viewer's mouth as our show goes away forever.
Yeah.
Is reveal that Buster murdered her.
Man, I mean, even like I said, I liked the angle of like who killed Lucille being a driving force behind season 5.
Yeah.
That's kind of a cool last season thing.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, kind of like a fun send off actually for Liza Minnelli's character. But the way they did it, first of all, unmemorable. Strangely, for such kind of like a big event.
Yeah.
And just kind of like, ew.
Yeah, it's double weird because on the one hand, I think that season 4 did so much damage to the series.
Right.
It's like everybody was like, this is not the show that I ever wanted.
Right. Like garnered a lot of
ill will. It feels different. Something about the writing feels different. The performances feel different. It all just doesn't feel right. Mm-hmm. And it's like, then you come back for a season 5. And in the run up to that, you get all of this marketing where it's, Jessica Walter, who plays Lucille.
Yeah.
Revealing that Jeffrey Tambor had been a monster to her and like harassed her on set. Mm-hmm. And there's audio of her crying and being like, but I have to forgive him. I have to. And then he says, yeah, you do.
Right. And Jason Bateman being like entirely unsympathetic.
It's the whole thing is so unpleasant. And then the conclusion is one of the hilarious characters is a murderer and murdered another character that you like. It's so weird. And so dually,
how strange.
I don't think many people watched to the final episode.
Yeah.
So there aren't that many people who saw it.
Yeah.
And I think even if you did watch to the final episode, your brain doesn't want this to be true.
No, it didn't retain it.
You reject this information. It's like a virus.
Yeah.
Your body at a certain point builds up an immunity and just forces it out of your head that Buster is a killer.
Seriously, I mean, if I was at gunpoint, I don't think I'd be able to tell you like what happens in season 5 of Arrested Development or who killed Lucille 2. I really had no idea.
It's a shock.
Yeah.
It's a real shock to the system and a horrible way to leave.
Definitely.
A horrible way to leave that show. Oh. Like irreparable condition.
Yeah, it did irreparable harm.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, we're going to have to leave this show in a horrible way.
I know. I'm shocked by this. I am shocked by it. I don't know why I'm shocked by it.
I don't know either. Why did we think that doing 2 subjects each was fine? I don't know. But this is actually going to have to be a 2-part journey. Will and I have more silly psychos to tell you about. Yeah. Actually, William, I got good news for you. This could be silly psychos. Next week could be sitcom psychos.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
You fixed it, Chrissy. Silly psychos and sitcom psychos.
Yeah. So next week we are going to continue and tell you about more nuts from TV shows.
Why don't we just go ahead and say who they are then?
Absolutely.
Since this is it'll be a clean 2-parter. Next week, I'm going to talk about the Scranton Strangler from The Office.
And I'm going to talk about Dennis from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
And these, I'm curious to see if anyone can top the evil of Buster Bluth.
Yeah, look, we'll have to see.
You really wouldn't have anticipated it.
No, it comes out of left field.
Can I leave you with something that's happening currently that I'm just watching? I really just want to share it with you, and maybe there will be an update next week, maybe not. So I don't know how many people watch this. It obviously, I think, is like for like a particular crew. People love this thing. Tim Heidecker does a show called On Cinema and has been doing it for a decade.
Yeah.
I think 12 years, in fact. It's ostensibly a show about reviewing movies, but it's got this whole fiction. He's playing a fictionalized version of himself. So he's Tim Heidecker in real life, and he's Tim Heidecker on the show, reviewing movies with his co-host, Greg Turkington.
Yeah. But
every season of this show, it's almost become this thing of the movies are irrelevant. Like the most recent one that I saw, they reviewed Dune 2. And it's Greg Turkington, who's supposed to be the film buff but doesn't know anything, going like, now a lot of people may not realize that this is not a sequel to the Dune that came out just a couple of years ago. This is a sequel to the David Lynch Dune, which it's not.
Yeah.
And he always gives everything 5 bags of popcorn. Even if he thinks it's terrible. He's like, but I'm going to have to give it 5 bags of popcorn. Yeah. So everything's reviewed well. And that's why that's not the appeal of the movie review show. The appeal of the movie review show is Tim Heidecker's ego. A few years ago, Tim Heidecker's character got into vaping and working with a guru that he named Dr. San, who had come up with this like vape juice. I think it was a vape juice that he said like had like restorative properties and it could heal you.
Yeah.
And he has a band called Decker, which is Heidecker. And he's got one song called Empty Bottle that he replays. He's remixed it like 5 different ways. So they held a concert called the Electric Sun Desert Concert.
Sick.
At this concert, the Dr. San vape juice was passed around. They did not provide water. They did not have toilets. 20 people died.
Oh no.
In the reality of the show. This is at a time when this show was put on Adult Swim. And after the Electric Sun concert, Adult Swim aired a 3-hour long, I think 3, maybe longer, maybe like a 4-hour long court
like a court TV style.
A court TV style recording, no cuts, of Tim Heidecker being tried in the death of the Electric Sun 20. And in it, he represents himself, and this is true now. I watched that and thought it was funny, and then I got addicted to watching actual real life, like people interviewing murderers and stuff. And there was this guy, Darrell Brooks, I think, who is an actual killer. But he decided that he was going to represent himself in court.
I remember you being hooked on this.
I couldn't stop. It was only like last year, maybe 2 years ago. And it is identical to the Tim Heidecker, which came out before it.
Yeah.
Tim Heidecker exclusively parodies this like toxic ego thing.
Yeah.
And so he is miraculously, spoiler alert, he is miraculously found not guilty. We later find out in the subsequent season, he's dating a member of the jury who was crucial in causing a mistrial. The reason I'm telling you all of this, Kristen,
is
because the current season of On Cinema, he got married to that woman. They got divorced.
I gotta get into this world.
There was a gas leak. There was like all this shit that happened. Kristen, oh my God. I think last episode or something of On Cinema, which is now called On Cinema On Demand.
How long are the episodes of On Cinema?
Like 15 minutes.
Okay,
They're
good. That's
so
short. It's hard for me to enter new worlds when episodes of things are like really long.
I know. Well, it's so short, and everything here is so just like it's dense. It's 15 minutes of like. It's always him. Like now it feels like you're tuned into Fox News or something. And he's got a book on the table called The Highway.
Yeah.
And it's a book that he's ostensibly written about his life's ambition, his worldview. And he didn't reveal until like episode 4 or 5 that the book sitting in front of him is a placeholder. He hasn't written it yet. But soon he's going to get around to writing it. It's so great.
I've seen, I guess are there like Oscar episodes or something?
Every year. No, you're because I could again just go on and on about this. Every year the season seems to culminate with an Oscar special.
Yeah.
Like a 3-hour long insane thing that always has like twists and turns to it, whatever. Tim Heidecker one year had a son who he named Tom Cruise Jr. And then Tom Cruise Jr. sadly dies. So at the Oscar special, Tim Heidecker reveals that he used technology to see what it would look like if Tom Cruise Jr. had grown into an adult.
Yeah.
And he brings out his wife to go like, I made this for you. And this CGI like guy wearing like board shorts comes in and goes, hello, Dad. I'm just so happy to be here with you and Mom. And I'm fine. But you keep making your great music. Like it's just the most like disgusting ego driven.
Yeah.
So the most recent thing, the reason why it's relevant to Silly Psychos, on a recent episode, Tony Newman came back into the picture, and Tim goes, "We're actually going to use our platform to reveal something pretty serious. We're going to get the word out there." Somebody came to Tony Newman's house at night, rang the doorbell, and had a gun. Her son, Matt Newman, went to answer the door and got shot. They replay Ring camera footage of the person approaching the door and saying something that we can't quite make out. So they rewind it and try to listen again. It's not funny at all. And people have now been trying to figure out the silhouette of this person to figure out who the shooter is. And it's got to be Tim.
Yeah.
Because who else would it be?
Yeah.
He's got one other co-host on the show who mysteriously disappeared. So it seems like maybe it's him. It's like a new guy. So it could easily be him. But this is all happening right now. And it's going to come to, I know it's going to come to a head at the Oscar special. So if there's...
this is a good time to get on board.
Exactly. So I'm just trying to tell you that this has been happening for a decade plus. Man. This now is a soap opera. Because now that Tony Newman's back,
all right,
is this going to revive the Electric Sun 20 case and get Tim in trouble for that again? Was he trying to silence her or something?
Great. I'm in.
Kristen, I think you've got to watch it. You got to check it out a little bit, or at least look at some clips.
I would love to. That sounds great.
And I implore all of you, go check it out. It's only on highnetwork.tv, which is also what I'm amazed by.
Yeah.
Is that, like, this is just their own thing.
I know. That's awesome.
And I am like and Tim Heidecker is a big enough person that he doesn't need to just be he's making his own independent thing because he likes it.
Yeah, totally.
Him and Greg Turkington. And it is so funny. He's so funny. Goofy, but like somehow so authentic to like this kind of person who's so egomaniacal and so
That's
self-centered.
Also, like, one of my favorite kinds of comedy or like things to skewer.
Yeah.
That kind of thing like tickles me like crazy.
There are entire documentaries where he's in this character, this like fake Tim Heidecker character.
Yeah.
He does stand up as this character where he says to people because they're not laughing at his jokes because they're terrible. He goes, "All right, everybody, I tell a joke, you," and he leaves a silence and they all go laugh. And he goes, "That's right." And just by using the rhythms of call and answer, he's subjugated the audience. So, like, it's incredible.
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to tell you. And it's happening right now. So I'll try to maybe check in. I don't know.
Get on board.
There's a new episode on Thursday. And I don't know what to tell you. I can't wait. I got to know what happened to Matt Newman and what's going on with Tim.
Man, I got to look up if there's like a way to... like a guide to like how to catch up. You know what I mean? Like essential episodes or whatever.
I know. There's
I'll figure it out.
I think just launch into the new stuff. And if it's amusing, you can always go back.
Yeah.
Right? But there you go, everybody. Silly Psychos.
Excellent. So
next week's sitcom Psychos.
Yeah, we'll be back. We're going to continue on this path. I can't wait. So thank you so much for being with us. Like we said, you can go to patreon.com/GTTUpod. If you would like more, we have a whole second weekly podcast. We also have movie commentaries.
Yeah.
For all of the Twilight movies, all of the Scream movies, the Blair Witch Project and Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2.
Yes, thank you for getting it right.
Yes, absolutely.
Go check that out, everybody.
Yeah.
Have fun. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. You can also, if you want to keep up to date with all of our shows, follow at GTTUpod on all social media, and we're on there too.
Yep, I'm at Chillin' Kristen.
I'm at The Myth Traveler. So, we'll be back next week with the Scranton Strangler and Dennis Reynolds. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
This was delightful to research. I forgot how funny
it's insane.
That show is.
But until that time comes, what?
It's like a sec.
All right, we must travel.
Back to the netherworld. Go we. So I mentioned we record a video version as well, just in case you're not watching it. I have my cup here on set, and it looks like Dennis is drinking from my cup because we have a picture.
You're right.
We have like a monitor.
The angle is just so.
Yeah.
Delightful.
Right. Yep.
Oh, everybody.
Thank you so much for joining us, everybody.
This is a fun but weird duo. This is good.
Yeah, I like this.
I'm into this.
This is very fun.